Hey everybody, it is Heather Coley and Zoe, and we are here today to talk all about multiple offers. And this video is how do you get an offer accepted when there are multiple offers. So this is a great video for any of you agents out there or possibly buyers, and the sellers might learn a little something too. So let's get into it. So what we are seeing a lot in our market these days are low inventory, not a lot of houses on the market, but a lot of buyers. And especially with the interest rate now dropping, we have got a lot of buyers out looking for properties to buy. But they are smart buyers. So do not think that you can overprice a house and it will still sell. So they are educated and they are getting their agents to do their homework. So but we do have a lack of inventory. And what that means is a lot of times when the right house comes up for your buyer, it is the right house that a lot of buyers are looking for. And so if you are not ready to act and ready to write an offer, you might totally miss out on the whole opportunity to do so. So my first suggestion is when you're working with a buyer, I like to set my buyers up on an automated Georgia MLS search, and you also can do it in FMLS. And that way, as soon as an agent clicks submit on that listing, they are going to get notified that a property that is within their criteria has now just hit the market. And I think this is a great way to kind of beat the masses a lot of times and to go ahead and get your buyer out there quick so that you might have that opportunity to get an offer in before others do. A lot of the sellers, though, in this market they're not dumb, so they know that they might have more opportunities for more offers. And so a lot of times they really do not want to make any decisions right quick. So a lot of them will even wait a day or two to see how many offers that they can collect so that they, of course, have more opportunity to get the highest priced or the strongest offer they can possible. So if you are in a situation where you know that this is a hot property and it is going to have some competition, here are a couple of tips so that when you submit your offer, you're submitting the best that you can. So first off, number one is reputable lender. The biggest thing is to have your buyer pre-qualified, pre-approved. They've already spoke to the lender. They know what their payment would be. They know what closing costs might be, so that when the property comes up, you are ready to write the offer. There's no delay. A lot of times buyers think that they need to go find the property first and then get pre-approved, but it really is not for their best benefit to do that. And it's because a lot of times it might take several days to get a true pre-approval. So you want them to go ahead and have all that already done before you really get out here looking for houses. So you want to have a reputable lender because, trust me, good listing agents know what lenders are good and which ones are not. And so if you have a buyer that does not have a good reputable lender, then at that point, definitely suggest lenders that you've worked with, that you have a relationship with, that you know do a very good job. And that is so important. So it's so interesting that when you're a listing agent and you get multiple offers, one of the first things I want to see is who's the lender, who's the agent, because these are the two people that you are going to be working with for at least the next 30 to 45 days. So you want those people are so important when your offer is getting accepted. So you want to make sure that you've got a strong, reputable lender and that your buyer's already pre-approved, and so there's no delays. Okay, so I like to have also already spoke to that lender so that I have a relationship with them too, so that when I am communicating with the listing agent, that I can honestly say I have spoke to their lender. So number 2 is, if you're a buyer, you want to have a very good buyer's agent. And so why is that so important? Because you're going to want someone to be able to pull comps for you, to let you know, is this house priced right? And also be able to give you good representation. Now, if you're an agent watching this video, then you've got to be that good agent. You've got to have that good communication. And you want to be someone that works well with others. So you want to be when you're working with a co-op agent, you guys are on a team to get to the closing table together. You are not enemies. So don't ever treat the other agent as such. You really want to build a relationship with them, protect your client, but also be the type of person or the type of agent that other agents want to work with. Because trust me, as a listing agent, when you're looking at multiple offers, that agent that's on that contract is an important part of going to be the whole process. So you want to be able to be that type of agent. So make sure you pay attention to that. And if you're the buyer, make sure that you find you a good agent to represent you, but also somebody that you feel like has good relationships. All right, number 3, you want to give a strong offer. If this is a hot property and in this market, this is not the time to lowball. Now, if the house has been, say, on the market for 30, 60 days, yes, you can at that time offer lower or maybe ask for more things. But if this house just hit the market and you get your agent to pull the comps and she or he tells you that yes, it is priced correctly, you need to go in strong. Do not try to go in lower. You're not gonna win. So it's just the honest truth. Also, one thing to think about is your closing costs. You should have had, if you're the buyer, you should have already had a conversation with your lender to know an estimated amount of how much closing costs are on a house, that's in the price range that you're looking. So you should know how much you need to ask for in closing costs. And if at all possible, and you don't have to ask for closing costs, then don't, because then your offer will be even stronger. So there are a lot of offers in this market that even come in as cash and do not ask for closing costs. And of course, it's very hard to compete with those. So, but if you're up against other financed offers or offers that, they're having to get financing, then you really want to be aware of everything you're asking for, because that listing agent is going to hopefully do what's called a net sheet with her seller, and that's where she's going to back out the real estate commission. They're going to back out how much you're asking for in closing costs. They're going to back out, of course, what your offer price is, and if you've asked for any other things and special steps, and then, of course, prorated taxes, and then how much they owe on their loan. That is going to give that owner the bottom line. And so when your offer is stacked up against other offers, you want yours to be the best. And what's interesting, though, sometimes it's not all about the bottom line number. A lot of times there's other things that are important to the seller that might even be something that you can, make strong in your offer, such as if, I'll talk about this in a minute, but if they need to have a flexible closing date or things like that. So there's, you just want, in this market right now, you have to put in a strong offer, a fair offer, not something overpriced, of course, but you want to have your homework done, have your agent do the homework to make sure that you're paying the right price, and then put in a strong offer so that you can get that property under contract. When the offer is sent over, make sure that your agent is sending over the pre-approval letter. And agents, make sure you're sending over the pre-approval letter and that the offer is totally complete. There's nothing that's more frustrating, and I've been even having this, I had this happen recently, is when an agent sends over an offer and it's halfway done. A lot of the exhibits might be missing, or the lender letter's not there. And so that tells me that I might be working with somebody that doesn't have everything together. And so also the agent, the way they do their paperwork is so important. And that's why you want to have an agent that has a lot of experience, or they've been trained really well, because agents know what should be in a blank and what shouldn't be in a blank. So if there's things that don't make sense, or the agent, if the agent has just left blanks empty, for instance, well, then that makes me nervous a little bit as the listing agent, because then I feel like I might be working with someone that doesn't know exactly what they're doing. So keep that in mind. So you want pre-approved, good lender, you want a good agent, or you want to be that good agent, and then you want strong terms. You know, if all possible, no closing costs, but if you do want to ask for some, don't go crazy. And then the next is going to be stipulations. So we have in the contract, it's called special stipulations. This is the part in the contract where your agent can write different things that you might want to ask for. And kind of normal things are, say, a home warranty, you know, that you want that seller to pay for that client, that buyer, for a year. And that's pretty standard in a resale. Also might be a termite letter. And those are a lot of times pretty standard. They're really only required in VA loans, but a lot of people like to ask for those just, you know, for their protection. Another thing might be that the house is on a septic tank, and that you're going to ask for that seller to pump the septic tank or to have it inspected and provide a clear letter. Those are all items that are pretty normal, but they are additions to the offer. You know, they're in the special stipulations. So one thing you have to think about is if you put yourself in that seller's shoes, which offer are you going to pick? One that has a long list of things that they want, or the one that maybe is a little less, you know, things on the list? So I'm definitely not saying to not ask for certain things, because yes, in each certain property, things are very important to ask for, but you just need to think about anything that you're asking that seller to do. Could it be something that you just do yourself, you know, during your inspection period? Or do you really want to ask for it? Because I've had sellers before pick an offer that did not have any special steps or many special steps compared to another offer that had a long list of them and maybe even was giving them a little bit more on price. You know, just put yourself in their shoes and you can kind of understand, you know, where they're kind of coming from. So few stipulations if possible. I would say kind of the fewer the better for the most part. The next thing, do you have to sell your house to be able to buy the next house? So what that's called is a sale contingency, and there's a specific exhibit that we have to put with the contract so that a buyer is protected in this case. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. As a listing agent and somebody that has represented sellers, if you have multiple offers come in and there is a sale contingency with an offer, and say, for instance, that seller or that buyer doesn't even have their house on the market yet, most of the time the sellers just put those over to the side, because they don't want to get tied up in that. So they would rather have an offer that they don't have to worry about somebody selling their house. Now, it works out a lot of times, though, to where somebody has to sell their house to buy a house. And that's perfectly fine. But if there's a way that you don't have to, and you're comfortable doing it this way, then of course your offer will be stronger without the sale contingency. Now, I do not suggest doing that unless if you're totally prepared that you would have to make double payments for a couple of months until your house sold. There are things called bridge loans that I've had several people do in the past where they know that they're not going to have a problem selling their house. So they do something like that to get the equity out, and then so they can go ahead and buy that house that they love, and then we sell their other house. That's not something that I tell somebody to do all the time, but it is out there and it is a possibility. So, but just so you know, as a buyer and the buyer's agent, the sale contingency can be a little bit of, a negative in a seller's eyes when they're looking at multiple offers. So, last thing to really make your offer strong is for your agent, or you as the agent, to communicate with that listing agent before you even type up the contract and ask things like, what is your seller's situation? How long do they need? Are they wanting a quick closing, or are they wanting something, a little bit later? Do they need a few days to move out, or would they be okay with us taking possession at closing? What is their situation? And then that way, when you write the offer, then you already know that you're doing something that could really work with that seller. Now, a lot of times, if say you're not able to get a hold of the agent or you just don't know, then just go ahead and type it up how you would like it, but then tell your agent, to communicate with the other agent that you could be flexible on that. And a lot of times that means so much to that seller that they are, that they very well might take your offer. So hope these tips helped you guys, and good luck out there with multiple offers.